Hello, welcome to Family. We've got your back. This week, Esther joins us again because she has another interview assignment. And this week, it's about parenting questions. And we did not go over the questions, so we are going to be surprised. And these are going to be our truthful responses, hopefully.
They will be truthful.
Don't lie.
They will be truthful.
I've got a massive headache, so we're pretending that I don't feel awful. So anyway,
So they might be brutally honest then. If
I'm just going to lay here like this and talk.
Okay. First question. What were some of your strengths and successes as a parent?
Bedtime Nazi. I made the kids go to bed on time.
You did? Yeah.
I made you do the actual work, but I'm the one that said go to bed and forced it to happen. Well, and there were it was twofold that you did that. It's because for most part he did not see them.
Yeah,
during
it's
the day.
True.
And the only time he ever saw them was at bedtime, and people remember the first thing that happens and the last thing that happens. And I wanted the kids to have a dad in their memories.
And I wanted to be a dad.
In their memories as
in
well.
Their memories.
And
of course,
so
I mean,
we created a bedtime routine with music and reading and other things, and it was same every night and at the same time, and that way they would remember their dad in their lives.
Yeah. Even though they probably don't remember it because they were smallish.
I mean, I remember it.
Yeah, and so...
You don't remember when you were an infant or even a 2-year-old,
Well, no,
right?
but I'm talking about when they read, and
like Cedar City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they were infants, though, too, it was also beneficial for me to be that help.
Yeah.
Because I could fall asleep very quickly, and Michelle is not.
No, I'm not a good sleeper. I used to be, and then I got kids.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so yeah, that was a success for Michelle, and I guess it was a team effort.
It was a team effort. We did it together, and we were very consistent, and that was one thing we were very consistent with. Mm-hmm. It was bedtime, and all the studies show that kids aren't getting enough sleep, and we wanted to not have that. Then we built our house, and our teenagers don't want to be read to and sung to. But,
Yeah.
And yet the 19-year-old is still asleep by 10 p.m.
Right. And when it was bedtime for all, so our adult children were still going to bed at 8:30. We're like,
it was quiet
go to
time
your
at
rooms.
least.
It was quiet time.
It was quiet time.
And we sent everybody to their rooms at 8:30. And so, yeah.
Unless there was an exceptional event.
Yeah. I mean, we couldn't force them to sleep, but and of course we had family activities and things like that. But I would say
bedtime was 8:30.
Maybe 10 days a year they missed their bedtime, but they were in bed. So yeah, that was our
so your
best.
question was,
that was my best thing.
Give a success and
some of your strengths and successes, yeah.
Yeah.
I think part of our other strengths have been just
family dinner.
Our family dinner time. It's a big priority.
We've made
for
a
us.
priority that family eats dinner together, and we talk, and we do family building things.
Yep.
Wholesome recreational activities.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway.
So our priority has been fairly consistently family is a very important. And there's been times when we haven't done it well, but our vision has been pretty consistent.
Yeah, we've done. I would say we've done really well.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there are things that interrupt that, but people know it. You come for dinner.
Which begs the next question, which of course will be.
Sorry,
Isn't it going to be what's your weaknesses? That feels like it should.
No, actually.
Oh.
Could you describe your parenting style and beliefs about parenting when I was under 16 years old?
Clarify. that
our
question.
our parenting
Style and beliefs when I was
beliefs.
like
Meaning-
not a teenage. Well,
Meaning like
Preteen.
go
Yeah.
to bed on time. You don't get to dress immodestly. You need to cover yourself. You need to behave yourself, that sort of stuff? Or is it like
I believe so.
Is it open to for interpretation what that question means?
I think so, yeah.
All right.
okay.
So we can just roll with that then. I think we kind of just said it.
Well, yeah, we were also more like, natural consequences.
Yeah.
If you didn't do what was asked of you, then there was a consequence.
It was a consequence.
And we tried to tie that consequence to,
Yeah.
like if somebody eats all the cookies, nobody gets cookies. Right?
And we are all mad at them.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I also tried to make it so that, like, if there's, like, an argument, everybody gets punished instead of just the person who caused it or the most obvious problem, so that you would, when there was fighting, people were like, no, we're all going to get in trouble, let's stop.
Yeah.
And you chose not to participate in that. We'll see how that worked out, but whatever.
Yeah, there was lots of things that we had to pick our battles quite a bit, probably more with you than we did with some of the other kids.
Yeah, you don't like chores, and chores were a rule at our house, and you
Yeah.
just don't like them, and
Yeah,
you
I
still don't.
don't.
And you say yes, I'll do them still, and don't. So yeah, it's
So that
you
those
are our difficult child. I mean, as sad as that is to say.
and remarkable. I mean, yeah.
I mean, we're not
saying
You turned out
Yeah.
remarkably well,
Yes.
despite all our efforts.
no. Well, not despite, but
Because of
the structure that we
Yeah.
provided was
Partially
good.
both, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we tried to use common sense tactics, like
Yeah.
natural consequences, like Michelle said, and
there were consequences
yeah,
for
but there were always
misbehavior.
consequences.
Yeah. And there were rewards for good behavior. Like everybody had to get a 10 out of 10 in their good behavior at the store in order to get anybody to get a treat.
Oh yeah.
Like, I will get you a treat under $1 if you all behave. But if even one of you misbehaves, then nobody gets a treat. So, again, that positive peer pressure to behave yourselves at the grocery store.
Yeah.
I mean, 5 kids at the grocery store, that's hard.
It's hard.
So you have to figure out, how to make
Incentives
that happen.
and consequences.
And so, yeah, that's basically our theories.
Yes.
This one kind of leads off of that past one. What did the word discipline mean to you? What guidance or disciplining techniques did you employ, and why? And did it change over time?
Oh, I think we tried everything in the book. We tried the power chair. We tried taking away privileges. Anything that we could think of that would work.
Yeah. I still...
Well, discipline for us means behavior. Like, it's not like you're in trouble. Discipline to us meant you are able to control yourself.
You are a disciplined person.
Yeah, you can control yourself. And so for us, discipline wasn't a negative thing per se. Right?
Well, I mean, I often, not often, but I do. I would get upset. I would get upset.
I'm not saying we didn't. I mean, but
emotion became a factor for me at the very least, and it was
when we just were at the end of our rope.
I didn't like myself in those situations.
For me more, it's the things we planned, not things that happened by accident because we were angry. Because when you're angry and you just choose to do something, that typically is a bad choice for the parent.
Yeah.
Typically ends badly for everybody. And so we didn't want to be emotional discipliners. We wanted to think ahead, and I didn't say we weren't ever.
Right.
Because we
but
were
that
a
was
lot.
yeah
but
that was
it was never turned out well when we were, and so we tried very hard to take the emotion out of it.
If A, then B, right? That kind of thing.
And because typically discipline when you're angry
goes bad.
And it typically ends often in abuse for many people.
Yeah.
You know, and so we knew that, and so we tried very hard to not discipline in anger, but you know, when there's pushback and you
teenagers.
Yeah.
Well,
and we also understood that we couldn't make your choices for you. And when we tried to force behavior, it also went bad. And
sometimes, I mean, Esther, fear became a factor with that kind of thing too, because sometimes you would run away.
Yeah.
And that would be an unknown thing, like, what are you doing?
And we cannot find you.
We don't know where she is. And it wasn't like she ran far away.
Except that one time I went to Grammys.
Except for that one time.
In flip-flops and a swimsuit, she walked along the highway for 10 miles. Yeah, that was bad.
No, Esther.
That was so bad.
I know. I was really stupid.
Yeah. I'm glad you learned your lesson, because that was so dangerously stupid.
And so so like I said, when fear is impactful, then emotion is automatically involved.
Yeah.
And so that can be awful.
Yeah, I guess what we're saying is emotion leads to dumb parenting. And so...
Not necessarily all emotion, but like negative emotion.
Yeah. Well, because then it leads to pride and control and force. And anyway, so...
I don't know if we answered your question, but we got lots of information right then.
Yeah. I feel like it answered it.
Edit for whatever.
Yeah. How did you decide on rules, boundaries, and limits? What was your typical source or reason for those specific rules?
Well, a lot of it came down to love and consideration and respect.
Yeah, I think too. We both came from families that used different structures, and so we did have some knowledge about how things should be done and how things should not be done, and that kind of thing. So, are you?
Well, I mean,
you look like I'm.
No, I have a headache. I think our personal beliefs, led most of it.
Yeah.
The things that we hold dear to our hearts, we wanted to teach our children and encourage, like no fighting, no beating the crap out of each other, right? No.
Show kindness.
Yeah, and we work together to get things done. If you made that mess, I don't care. You will help clean it up because we are a family and we work together.
We do.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like we take care of each other and our things, and we work together to accomplish that. We're a team, and so a lot of our
and that has served our family a lot. Like it may not. It would be nice if it was evident in our house, these things, but whenever we go to an event, everybody in our family is super happy to help cleaning up or helping in whatever fashion.
Yeah, because that's what Christians do.
That's what Christians do.
Work together to get the job done.
Yeah, it's like if you see that somebody needs to have something done, then you help them out with it.
Yeah, when I was at my friend's wedding and helped clean up afterward, I wasn't even part of like the bridal party or anything. I just stayed and helped, and people there were like, "Your parents raised you right."
Well, we tried.
But,
whatever. Oh my.
You did right in that aspect.
Yeah. Well, let's hope so. But yeah, so that's things like that, like love one another.
Yep.
Type thing, and
help people out. Do what you can.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this one is kind of like I feel like it's kind of hard to contextualize, but how did you think you should respond when I broke the rules or misbehave? I think it's about, like, your mindset back then when I was, like, a child.
Well, I obviously didn't want to respond with emotion, and I wanted to respond with what I had decided was the best course of action. And
physical situations never was the thing.
like trying to physically force you to do it never worked out well. But how did I want to respond? How did I think I should respond?
When I broke the rules.
Love and logic, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
with predetermined responses, with either the power chair, or you need to sit in your room, or you need to do an extra chore, or whatever it was that made it so that it was a correlation to your misbehavior.
Yeah, when I was in my right mind, the things that I would have wanted to were emulated by my parents typically.
You wrote papers.
But that's not the.
I couldn't force them to write
that's
papers.
That's not what I'm referring to, though.
And
with regards to disappointment or upset, I don't know if I ever saw my parents get upset with many people in our house. I can't think of a single. Keep in mind, it's been decades since they've had teenage and below.
Since we got married.
Yeah, and so it's. But I really felt when I was in my right mind, I would like to respond like my mom or my dad, because they were in control
of themselves,
and therefore. And they could communicate their frustration and love at the same time, which is remarkable.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
So, yeah.
What did you think was the best way to motivate me to do something I didn't want to do?
Food. Or
no
rewards.
Yeah,
that's true.
Rewards. Yeah. Like, if you do this, you get this. Yeah.
Yep.
We really struggled. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's like that was what appealed to most of the kids.
So rewards in general, but food specifically for me, because
just
food motivated.
Not just food, but like rewards.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, excuse me.
How well did the reality of your parenting style match up with your ideals and philosophies?
Half the time, maybe?
I don't know. I wouldn't want to put a percentage to it.
We weren't very good.
No,
we were emotional a lot. It was, let's just say, it was hard. We really struggled more. When you were younger, we really struggled.
But to be fair, though, dear, I mean,
my health was not good, and
that's not what
Trent
I was
was
going
gone
to say.
all the time, and it was so stressful for him. And so, just when you misbehaved, it was just max, like the straw that broke the camel's back.
Well, and when you consider hard times, you remember the hard times a lot more than you remember the regular and happy times. It's just that's how emotions impact us, right?
Like you need 5 times positive to 1 negative in order to have it feel balanced.
So we always, I don't know why that is exactly, but it's like you can remember your failures more than your successes. So I don't know what the ratio is, but I think that, like I said, I think most of the time we were at least on the same page.
Yeah.
And we loved our kids. They maybe didn't know that in those hard times and the rough consequence situations. But at the end of the day, they came home. We had good routines.
You guys all still live with us,
right?
Even though 3 of you are adults, so obviously you love us and want to be around us. Otherwise, you'd be like, "No, I'm out."
see you later once I'm 18.
Yeah, and the rules that we have for you as adults seem pretty reasonable, you know.
And our expectations haven't really changed much.
It's like if you're disrespectful, you don't get to be here. Like, this is, now that you're adults, is optional. So if you don't do what you're supposed to do and contribute, then you're gone, you know.
But that risk is almost minimized, and so because of those things we did when they were young.
Yeah.
So we, like I said, we remember the hard things most, but I think we did plenty of good things, and we still had.
So you're saying we did better than.
Of course, I'm a cup half full guy as well.
Well, yeah, we don't know. We don't know how to answer that question, but obviously, however, it's more so now than it was before, I guess. I don't know, but for the most part, except for you, because you freaked out. And yeah, for the most part, the other kids, the boys at least. Ava was sometimes iffy, but for the boys, it was typically punishment received and handled. It's the girls that we struggled with.
Yeah. Girls.
Hormones.
How have you given yourself grace for any parenting mistakes you might have made?
That's what I just did.
We just started.
I'm good at that one.
We understand that parents aren't perfect. We apologized. And we did our best to not do it again. Like, we weren't so like parents are perfect and what we say goes. I mean, it's more like, we messed up and we're sorry.
My way or the highway.
Yeah, we and then we just do our best to do it again because we know that nobody's perfect. And
not do it again.
Right. To do better
unless
next
it was
time.
Effective.
No. To do better next time, right? When we lost it, we tried to do better next time.
Yeah.
And to be fair, as soon as my pills, we found the right medication for me and I was diagnosed properly, and suddenly I was like,
could do things.
The fog lifted and I was like, oh, I can function as a human. My response to misbehavior has been minus, I would say, 2-3 instances of just losing it. I would say it's been following how I believe I should behave.
Yeah.
So, but giving ourselves grace is, I don't want to say repentance, but basically that's what it is. Is we're like, okay, we messed up. I'm sorry. We'll do better. And for the most part, we have.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, last question. What have you learned over the years that you wish you would have known when raising me?
Oh. I don't know. I don't know. What we wish we had known. I don't know.
I think being
that it would have been like all the parenting classes in the world don't actually prepare you for being a parent.
No.
And I don't know, like what, basically the same.
We definitely were flying off the seat of
we didn't know what we were doing. We were and now we do. We would have not allowed I'll do it, and then you not. There would have been
more follow-ups. More follow-ups, more I don't know if all the supports were in place because we wanted you to be obedient, but maybe we gave her too much agency in that.
Yeah, it's like
with little kids and even into teenage years.
Well, yeah, we wanted you to learn to make choices.
Yeah, we wanted to make choices, but once again,
if you don't ever have a chance to make your own choices.
There's a careful balance between helicopter parents and absentee parents,
neglectful parents,
and it is kind of a precarious situation when kids are growing up, and so. But yeah, like I said, you said,
think just more more consistency and follow up. I think that would have benefited you more, is more consistency and follow up.
And that's tricky too, because once again, like Michelle said, I was gone 10 hours a day.
Sick.
I was, and when kids were young, I would get home at 6 p.m. And then we would start the bedtime routine at 7:30.
Yeah.
So they would be in bed. Well, when you were young anyway, you'd be in bed at 8.
We'd eat dinner
and that was basically the whole day.
And
so there wasn't. So it was all the responsibility was just left on Michelle, and with very few supports in our housing
and people
situation.
Just judging me, thinking you're a terrible person, instead of maybe you need medical assistance and help.
Yeah.
It's like anyway.
I think the big moral of this story is, of course, maintain a good vision. And
stay true to who you are. Try to not make it personal, because their misbehavior isn't about you. It's not personal.
It's all about just learning and growing, and
not remain distant, but realize that it's not a power struggle, because as soon as it's a power struggle, you've lost.
And it became a struggle. It became a power struggle often with Esther.
Yeah. So this week, everybody, analyze your parenting and see how you can do better.
Yeah.
If you have kids.
Thanks, Esther.
For people who don't have kids, plan out how you want to be a parent and try to be and
recognize
try to
your
stay.
Weakness
and when you become parents, try to stay with that vision. Anyway, thanks.
Have
Bye-bye.
a good week. Bye.